Hello, and welcome to my living room. Good to see you guys. Good to see you, Beanie. I spoke with Morpheus earlier, so I'm hoping he joins us. And I'm still trying. I was like looking around, like, what all can you see? What can you not see? I've got lynx ass and fox ass and Halloween pictures and spooky spiders. If I sit perfectly, it looks like he's on my head. Okay, guys, I have a little while before a job. I was already doing a bunch of shit this morning. Here I am. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's just hop into this and cover this topic. I was having this discussion with a friend of mine yesterday, which prompted me to want to do a little bit of research and make this video. I know I'll say, like, oh, I'm going to make this video and I'll make this video and that video before I make whatever video. Whatever, take the videos you're going to get. And if you don't like it, kiss my ass and stop coming here and watching them. What's wrong with you? So, got my Getting Sober cup from the YouTube channel that I like to join in on. I actually have a couple of followers from that YouTube channel on my channel now, which I really appreciate. So, a warm welcome to all of the people that have come over from the Getting Sober Again channel. I really appreciate you guys, and I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to represent and call them out while I drink out of my cup, which is too hot. So I've got like a half hour to an hour before my next job. And so I thought, hey, hop on here. What's up, Quasar? See, I was just talking to you about the art of communication yesterday and how it prompted me to want to make this video. So we are going to talk about that shit. And yes, thank you, Beanie, my OG 80. So yeah, it's nice. I've had tons of people follow me from the Sober channel and support me, even though some of them are all like, oh, well, I don't hate dogs, but, I'm here and I support you, which is all I ask for. I had someone on my Facebook channel. Let me check the volume. I had someone on my Facebook channel the other day jumping all over my ass about differing views. And I'm like, hey, I'm not on your page, your channel, or whatever the fuck you call it, spewing my bullshit, so keep your shit to yourself over there on your page, and I'll do what the fuck I'm doing over here. Thank you, Beanie. There is the Dogs Are Garbage Facebook page, which I'm not going to change the name of, even though the channel name changed. And I know there's only two of us here, two of my favorite people. But, a lot of people have been watching these later on, especially at the time that I've been putting it up. I was happy to see that, like, the video I made the other day already has, like, 400 views. I'm like, I only have, like, 600 and something subscribers, which is a pretty damn good percentage of people that are actually watching. And I really do hope to see Morpheus here. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and start this video. I don't want to dawdle along because, like I said, a lot of people don't come in to watch any of this shit until later. I hope everybody's having a good day and that the world is treating you well and all of that shit. And I know I said it yesterday. It's supposed to be like our last hot days of the summer. Well, damn it, this better be the last hot day of the summer because I'm played the fuck out on it. I'm tired of it. So, The Art of Communication is actually a book, okay? And I'm going to read a quick summary that someone wrote about the book. I highly suggest reading it. I read it years ago. I should read it again. But what I want to do is discuss types of communication. And when I was having my discussion yesterday with Quasar, I was describing not only communication and how it differs from one human to the next, but acceptance and understanding one's how they perceive communicating and why. And why they may choose, psychology fascinates me. Why this person may choose the type of communication they do. Was it actually like conscious decision, or is it something that's been gained throughout traumatic experiences in life? Was it taught environmentally by your family? Is it genetic? There's so much shit that goes into building up the unique human that each one of us are, on top of all these environmental stresses and everything. I've found myself communicating on all different levels throughout my life. Being someone who was heavily traumatized and also overcame all of that. When you say you've overcame, it doesn't mean that it's not with you and it's not going to stick with you. It just means that there's different levels and phases of healing and understanding of oneself. And my communication has changed dramatically over the years. So, what I want to do is I want to read this summary about the art of communication right quick. And then we're going to get into 4 types of communication. And we will discuss some of my personal opinions on why people choose different avenues of communication, whether it's conscious or subconscious. Because, like I said, a lot of times, and I will say before I get into it, there was, before even having this conversation with Quasar yesterday, there was a conversation I had on Facebook where someone had posted a meme, and this is what prompted this whole topic in this whole video. And the meme said, hey, for those of you that are sharing your experiences with me, when I come back at you with one of my own personal experiences, it's not because I'm trying to degrade or water down what you just said. I'm not one-upping you. I'm not competing with you. It's just the manner of which I know to reach out to you as one is desperately trying to find a way to relate to you, or that very basic need that humans have for community and understanding one another. I feel really bad for people that don't communicate well at all. You'll see a lot of this on social media where a person, they'll see something that triggers them and they can't like communicate properly. They can't find a way to convey to you how that made them feel while also protecting themselves emotionally and getting their point across. I've used this when I've been talking about expressing that you don't like dogs or being a vegan, right? Or these controversial topics. You have to be very careful in how you communicate with people about this because you can chase people away. I love to use the vegan thing, and we have lots of vegan group members here and shit. So you guys that understand what I'm saying, a lot of you are very sweet and have a really amazing way of communicating your point to people. That's so important. It's one of the reasons I've been speaking out for so many years. I've been an activist for about 10 years, talking about everything you can imagine, from natural health, going against the pharmaceutical company, against fracking, against water contamination, against pollution in the ocean, against the capture and enslavement of animals, including but not limited to elephants and whales and all these different things, right? And it's been a life, I'll tell you. But the way that you portray your opinion and try to get people to understand you is so important. And so my communication style has changed dramatically throughout the years. I'll get into all your comments and look at it in a minute as I'm on another page. But this led all of us in this meme feed to start discussing our forms of communication, how they've changed over the years, why and how we feel and act the way that we do. And I feel that self-reflection, acceptance, and understanding of not only yourself, but those around you, man, we could get a lot of places in the world if we really took a step back and understood ourselves and those around us. Doesn't mean that you have to be around someone if you don't mesh with them, right? But you could accept and understand why it is they feel and act the way that they do, even if they're completely fucking insane, which I am. But I have a good way of conveying and portraying myself to people that can understand me. I can get along with people that I have multiple views not in common with, be they political. I've got a couple friends that hate hunting. I love hunting. We're still friends. We can still talk to each other. It's, so here's a summary on the art of communicating, okay? It's by an artist, Thich Nhat Hanh, all right? Loneliness is the suffering of our time. Even if we're surrounded by others, we can feel very alone. We are lonely together. He explains how technology supplies many ways to help us stay connected, such as the internet, email, video conferencing, texting, posting, apps, letters, and phones. Yet our communications may be lacking in genuine meaning. Quite simply, many of us have forgotten how to connect with ourselves. And if we are out of touch with ourselves, how can we ever expect to communicate authentically with other people? As ever, not only does Thich Nhat Hanh identify the problem, he offers solutions. He sets out the practical techniques of mindfulness to help us orientate ourselves in the present moment, to reach out to others and take responsibility for our thoughts and actions. Very important. When you produce a thought, it bears your signature, he says. Communication isn't static, and our words, thoughts, and physical actions will continue to have an impact on the future, even after we're gone. I like to always say you're so profound you don't realize it, and you're also so minuscule that you should just get over yourself. Like that meme that says we're all made of stardust and the earth and all these things, but so is garbage, so calm the fuck down, right? At a time when it's very easy to become caught up in a whirlwind of distractions, to pride ourselves on our number of followers, for instance, rather than our true friends and family. Thich Nhat Hanh is a calm voice guiding us back to the real art of communicating. I like to point out, like, that's never been a concern of mine. I watch followers that I have multiple things I've spoke out about over time drop and gain, and who cares? It's the quality of the people that I have in my life that's what's important. And moreover, not to demean any of you, it's the quality of me. I have to live with me. Okay? Despite all of our best intentions, communication is still a challenge for most of us. How do we say what we mean in a way that the other person can really hear? How can we learn to listen with compassion and understanding? Why do people communicate so differently? And how can we reach across our differences to strengthen our relationships? Using examples from his own experience working with couples, families, workplace colleagues, and international conflicts, celebrated spiritual leader Thich Nhat Hanh reveals 5 steps to truly mindful communication. By focusing on concrete and accessible practices, the art of communicating provides the key to communicating with yourself, loved ones, colleagues, new acquaintances, and more effectively, with kindness and mindfulness. There's a saying in Vietnamese, it doesn't cost anything to have loving speech. We only need to choose our words carefully, and we can make other people happy. To use words mindfully with loving kindness is to practice generosity. We can make many people happy just by practicing loving speech. Profound words in a very profound book that I highly suggest for people to look into and watch. Okay, so let me see what we got here, guys. All right, we just got Beanie and Quasar still carrying on, which I'm totally cool with that. Let's see what you guys have got to say. If you're here and just watching, please hit that like button and subscribe. Yes, please do. It does make a huge difference. Or you could just call me Broomstick, right? Know from experience that communication while under long-term circumstances and not in a clear mindset is not possible. For me personally, I was in a selfish headspace. I have done the same thing. Okay? Very important shit. Okay? So, and if you guys choose to be here and not comment, that's totally fine too. I don't mind, as long as you're getting something from the content. Or like I said in the beginning, if you're not and you don't like me, why the fuck are you here? Go find something to do with your time. Okay. The definition of communication, I felt this would be helpful. The exchange, as by speech or letter, of information between persons, or information exchanged, or communications, plural, a system of sending information. There are 4 basic communication styles, guys: passive, aggressive, passive-aggressive, and assertive. And I'll tell you, although I may not be some kind of professional, I've done all of these. I feel like many of us have. There are a lot of people that just, it's not that cut and dry, okay, that are only one way. Quasar says, I sometimes assume where someone is coming from, and I'm wrong. I constantly do that. Some people are very passive and have always been that way their whole life. They don't, they're not assertive. Some people are just assertive and have never practiced passive communication. I know for a fact in my past, I have been highly passive aggressive and still find myself doing it. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I know about 2 of you in here that are communicating at the moment. I love how it's like about communication, but there's only 3 of us communicating. Cracks me up. A lot of us, this is environmental. And so for many, many years, I had very poor communication skills. Okay. I learned them. I learned them through environmental conditioning. I learned them through my genetics. It took me years to work and to become who I am today. someone I'm very proud of. Okay. So I want to get into this. Like I said, I have so much time before this job today, and I want to break all these down and actually get into a discussion about them. All right. Every person has a unique communication style, a way in which they interact and exchange information with others. There are 4 basic communication styles: passive, aggressive, and assertive. It's important to understand each communication style and why individuals use them. For example, the assertive communication style has been found to be most effective because it incorporates the best aspects of all the other styles. When we break down these 4 styles, we'll better understand the characteristics of each style, standard phrases, and what makes them unique. Passive, all right? This is one I personally only experienced for a short time in my youth. I've always been very assertive, and then for a period of time, passive aggressive, not so passive, which is, is probably a huge problem for me. And, I'm very outspoken, obviously. Here I am on this YouTube channel talking. I'm not a professional. Part of me should be ashamed to even speak on it, but I speak from my own life experiences. It doesn't mean you need to follow my advice. Each person has to do what is uniquely good for them. Individuals who use the passive communication style often act indifferently, yielding to others. Passive communicators usually fail to express their feelings or needs, allowing others to express themselves. Frequently, a passive communicator's lack of outward communication can lead to misunderstanding, anger buildup, or resentment. At the same time, these communicators can be safer to speak with when a conflict arises, because they most likely will avoid a confrontation or defer to others. Passive communicators often display a lack of eye contact, poor body posture, and an inability to say no, or as we were discussing yesterday, a yes man, right? Passive communicators also act in a way that states, people never consider my feelings. But passive communicators are also easy to get along with as they follow others and go with the flow. Examples of phrases that those who use a passive communication style would say or may believe include, it really doesn't matter that much, and I just want to keep the peace. Now, I'm not bashing any style of communication. What I will say that I myself have experienced from passive communicators, and this isn't, no one's being negative, okay, is that they do often end up with that mentality of, people don't consider my feelings, that they feel left behind as if they're not being heard. But it's them, right? They say that you're going to get what you put in. So where I can be perceived as being annoying or aggressive, as we're getting to in the next type of communication, I don't have trouble being heard. If I have someone around that I'm communicating with properly, I don't feel that I'm not communicating myself to them and that I'm not being heard. I feel very much that I am heard. I'm pretty boisterous, so I don't really have to sit back at the end of the day and wonder if someone's understanding coming from. Okay. So, Beanie says she's guilty of the same. And Quasar says, I try my best not to be passive aggressive. You usually have to drop sarcasm to accomplish that. I can be very sarcastic to alleviate seriousness and try to calm things down. It's a catch-22. I do that. Where I could feel like passive aggressive is why I pointed that out about myself, because I can inflate a situation while being too aggressive and coming out with the way I feel or what I think. And when I see that I've rubbed someone the wrong way or they're triggered, then I back up and try to compliment and diffuse the situation a bit. It can be very confusing to those that you're trying to have a conversation with. But once again, we can understand that no one is perfect, right? So back to the article, and we're on to aggressive, which I keep blushing and going, It's often apparent when someone communicates in an aggressive manner. You'll hear it, you'll see it, you may even feel it. I've been told that a lot. The aggressive communication style is emphasized by speaking in a loud, demanding voice, maintaining intense eye contact, and dominating or controlling others by blaming, intimidating, criticizing, threatening, or attacking them, among other traits. I would like to throw in, since I am taking this one and placing it on myself, that people that know me, like Quasar and I were talking about the other day, know that I am quick to own my flaws. So where I used to be a highly aggressive communicator, not so much anymore, although I do have my moments. Okay. Aggressive communicators often issue commands, ask questions rudely, and fail to listen to others. But they can also be considered leaders and command respect from those around them. Examples of phrases that an aggressive communicator would use include, I'm right and you're wrong. I'll get my way no matter what, and it's all your fault. I was never that aggressive, apparently, although I have used some loose terms around this. I do often feel that I'm right. Son of a bitch, I've been doing this for years. I know it works for me. So I'm defensive and nobody's even challenging me right now. Beanie says, back in the good old days, people weren't as sensitive as they are now. I prefer it that way myself. I do too. Also, though, like, dude, it's okay for people to be sensitive. How are you going to communicate that? Or whatever happened to just shut the fuck up. I love to talk about that. And you just shut the fuck up. It's like when people see some shit or like a post or something and they have to stop and say something about it. It's like, you didn't have to do all that. You could just go about your fucking day. Did you really have to stop and say that? Go fuck yourself. Like, find something else better to do. And so there's my aggressive communication patterns that I have been working on for many years. Okay. I used to be scary aggressive though. You couldn't even talk to me about anything. But once again, you take environmental stresses and, conditioning and you apply that to the person and you can understand more about why and how they communicate, who they are and why they chose that. And how many of us, communicate something and then stop later and go, shit, I could have done that differently, Or, as Quasar and I were talking about yesterday, how it is that you go about that. We're all in a big hurry, to most people are, right? To talk about issues and get our feelings out there and to be understood. But you have to stop and make sure that you're respecting the other person's feelings and points of view and opinions as well. Even if you don't agree with them, you have to give them a chance to speak and say it. Okay. Now, I know with people like Beanie, as I used in an example yesterday, it's harder to get her to talk because she's a little more closed in. And I'm not trying to throw us out under the bus here for anybody. It's not like I'm, presenting your personas or saying who you are or intimate details about you. I'm just saying they're all different types of communicators. And so that takes us on to our next category of communication, passive aggressive. Passive aggressive communication style. Users appear passive on the surface, but within he or she may feel powerless or stuck, building up a resentment that leads to seething or acting out in subtle, indirect, or secret ways. This can be a dangerous one. Most passive aggressive communicators will mutter to themselves rather than confront a person or issue. I have a few friends like this. They have difficulty acknowledging their anger, use facial expressions that don't correlate with how they feel, and even deny there is a problem. I'm no good at these. Passive aggressive communicators are most likely to communicate with body language or a lack of open communication to another person, such as giving someone the silent treatment, spreading rumors behind people's backs, or sabotaging others' efforts. Passive aggressive communicators may also appear cooperative, but may silently be doing the opposite. Ultimately, passive aggressive communicators are aware of their needs, but at times struggle to voice them. Examples of phrases that a passive aggressive communicator would use. Excuse me. That's not it. That's fine with me, but don't be surprised if someone else gets mad. Who is this someone else? Your other personality? And sure, we can do things your way. Then mutters to themselves that your way is stupid. This is not so much as dangerous for people around you as it can be, as dangerous for yourself. You're not being heard and understood. People are misunderstanding you. You're not getting your point across. You're not having your needs fulfilled. And no one, Mom, what did you? I was thinking the same thing when I was reading it. I was like, this is my mom all day. But isn't it cheeky of us to so quickly recognize these traits in other people, but to fail to see them in ourselves? And so I try to do both. And also, like I said, I have been fighting to not be like my mother all of my life, even though I know she's a piece of shit. All right. It's hard. It's environment, it's genetics, it's these things you pick up. And so you pick these things up. I've always said that my mother was the greatest con artist I'd ever met. And so every day I fight to use my powers for good and not for evil. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be out taking advantage of people or hurting anyone. I really want to be the best me that I can be. And so I have to be careful. Okay. Let's get into the end of this. I know we are at I wanted to do like a half hour or so and be done with this because, like I said, I have a job to go to. Then there is the assertive, which I said, aside from aggressive, I consider myself rather assertive. And most people that know me know this about me. I'm even using the hand language. People, and I don't know what it says in here, but if you go into a further descriptive article about assertive people, hand motions, and we're very animated and we're considered eccentric and all these things. So, thought to be the most effective form of communication, the assertive communication style features an open communication link while not being overbearing. Assertive communicators can express their own needs, desires, ideas, and feelings while also considering the needs of others. Assertive communicators aim for both sides to win a situation, balancing one's rights with the rights of others. I am so big on that, which is why I like to have my voice out there and help people bridge the gap of communication. It's like with the dog situation where I've said I don't want to chase off people that like dogs. I don't want either party being bullied. Okay? We have to be able to communicate about this, even though we disagree. Otherwise, you're just telling the same fucking story over and over again. What good is that doing anybody? Okay? Assertive communicators can express their own needs, desires, ideas, and feelings while also considering the needs of others. One of the keys to assertive communication is using I statements, such as, I feel frustrated when you are late for a meeting, or I don't like having to explain this over and over. It indicates ownership of feelings and behaviors without blaming the other person. Examples of phrases an assertive communicator would use include, we are equally entitled to express ourselves respectfully to one another. I realize I have choices in my life and I consider my options. I damn near used that sentence phrase for phrase last night. I respect the rights of others. It's just creepy, to be honest. Because I had this discussion last night, and in a roundabout way, I said, I have every right to protect myself and my feelings while also respecting yours. Okay? I can respect you in the way you feel while also protecting myself and looking out for my well-being. I had a girl at work the other day, I'm not going to name what job, I'm not going to say any names, but I basically end up doing a lot of work in this area and helping a lot of people. And I'm constantly involved in stock rotation, all these, and I work in multiple places. So you can feel free to guess. It could be the bar, it could be the senior center, whatever, right? We've been talking about stock rotation nonstop. Okay. And someone put all the shit away and didn't rotate it. So much so that when the new shipment had shown up, the boxes were open and the new containers were put in front of the old containers. All right. I seen it. I was pretty pissed because we've all talked about this over and over. At this point, if you're doing this, this is an intentional act that you're doing. You're not considering other people's health as you are letting new stock push the old stock back. You're not respecting what I'm saying or the way that this company, this corporation works. So I was steamed. And I'm walking around looking for the person. And then I stopped and went, nope, it's better you don't find them right now because you need to communicate properly. You don't want to demean this person or, be rude. And so when I found them, I took them over there and I had created 2 examples and I said, hey, look, this is, and you know this, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, you know what you did, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody else. Okay. But I really need you to start doing this. Okay. Either intentional or they're just half assing the job. Honestly, K Nunn, I think it's half-assing the job. I understand everybody gets busy, but you have to do the job the right way. Okay? Otherwise, people are coming back and redoing it. And in that amount of time, it could have just been done the proper way, right? So instead of me communicating aggressively, which we discussed first, and where I said I came from an aggressive standpoint most of my life, I went through a passive aggressive phase that I picked up from my mother. And eventually, after reading, researching, and wanting to be a better person, I fell in the realm of assertive communicator. Okay. So I just use this as a very minimal example of what I'm discussing here. I could have lashed out. I could have went to superior and said something. I could have caused a big stink. I want to give this person a chance to do the right thing and not inflate this situation and bring all this attention to it, or shame this person and make them feel a certain way. I've been saying for years that the manner of which you work with people and communicate can create a new way of being and a new person, right? That person might watch you treat things with great couth and tact and grace and love and responsibility, that it can change the way they want to be. It can change leaders for the future. And I'll use a few more examples. I worked at this bar and grill. I was a manager there at the bar, and my friend was the manager of the kitchen many, many years ago. Thank you, K-Nun. And yes, it should be done correctly, right? Should. Well, there was this woman who was the daughter of the owner of the business. And she was so mean. She just had like a shitty, bitter heart. And for people like me and my buddy, we don't even listen to this bitch. We just did our jobs. Her father owns it, not her. Well, we hired a couple young ladies. We needed help. These were these girls' first job ever in their life. And I recognized the importance of that right away. I am still friends with one of these young ladies to this day. All right. And I said to my friend managing the kitchen, this is so important because this is their first workplace experience. This can make or break the way people want to act or how they feel about work, the responsibility or the care or pride they have in what they do, you know. So we were like very good at training them and always emphasizing how important it is to be proud of what you do. It doesn't matter if you're cleaning toilets, if you're street sweeping, if you're, whatever it is, treat it with pride and do what you do with all of what you got. What's up, Asher? And just, come on, no matter what you're doing, right? You feel better at the end of the day, but not to overdo it and put yourself into shit to the point that you're exhausted for minimum wage, right? But do your job right. Well, this bitch, the owner's daughter, kept demeaning. These were 2 pretty young women we hired. They're very young, She just was so vicious and mean. And it was like a week or 2 into it, these girls were crying every other day and stuff. And eventually I'm standing back in the kitchen watching all this happen. And the 2 girls walk away. And one's family had gone out of town. It was the first time she'd ever been alone in her life. She's 17 years old. And she's crying and so upset. And she walks out of the kitchen. And I look at this woman and I go, the fuck is wrong with you? Then she's like, excuse me, no one asked for your opinion, Ashley. I was like, well, I'm fitting to give it to you. If I was this girl's parents, I'd come back here and whoop your ass for talking to my kid like that. And you ought to treat your position with more grace. What if you weren't the owner's daughter? What then? What if you were them? What if someone was treating you the way that you're treating them? You ever stop to think about that? Have you ever attempted to put yourself in someone else's shoes? Just once in your life? And she's like, oh, it's fancy you saying all that. And she's trying to like blow me off and walk away. And I was like, better be careful. And she turns around and goes, excuse me? I said, well, you better be careful. Sometimes bad people get what's coming to them, Be careful. Get on the wrong end of that. And my buddy's standing next to me on the counter going, and she goes, is that some kind of threat? I was like, what? No, I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just saying sometimes people are real shitty to people's kids, and then they're like walking out to their car and, get assaulted by people in ski masks and stuff. If something stuck their butt, I don't know, just an idea. I mean, I've heard of it happening. You've heard of it happening, right? I say to my homie, he goes, oh, yeah, I've heard of it happening. And she's like, it's a threat. I was like, no, it's a hypothetical situation. It does happen. Watch Unsolved Mysteries. It happens all the time. And she walked away. I went and found the young lady, and I consoled her and explained to her, this is something you're going to deal with throughout life. You talk to your father or your mother about this, and I'm sure they can explain to you. You're going to have good bosses and bad bosses. Don't let it change who you are or how you act. Don't let it affect you and turn you into a calloused, jaded, rotten piece of shit that treats your employers and everyone just the same. And she was so grateful for us reaching out to her to be sweet to her and treat her with dignity, with respect. It should be obvious, right? So just a few experiences. Be nice people because you never know who you're messing with. Exactly. I've tried to explain that to my sister in the past. Is we're pretty rowdy, right? But, I've seen her in some situations where I stop her and be like, you don't know who the fuck that is. And no matter how crazy you think you are or how tough you are, you don't know who their family is, who they are. I've explained this to a friend of mine, lives in a small town, owns business, and he has some anger problems. And I'm constantly telling him, be careful. The next person that you're fucking with on the road or cussing out at the store or whatever it is could be the next job bid you're doing. Be careful. Treat people the way you want. You know what my favorite, and I'll just share this because I'm going to wrap it up soon. My favorite is to be continually nice to someone even when they're angry. This has two wonderful side effects to it. Most often, I can get through and they'll chill out. Okay? If I don't, and they're really that miserable and they're just pissed, my happiness makes them twice as angry. So win-win, right? I don't want to antagonize or hurt anybody, but I'm not going to let them get in my head. So we had stopped to grab some quick food. Don't eat a lot of fast food and shit. Kill them with kindness, right? But we had gone through and the person's like, oh, we went inside this time now that I think about it. And the guy's like, and just frustrated and just not happy. So hi, Annabelle, good to see you. And he's like, and I'm like, thank you, and this and that. And then I start cracking some jokes. And eventually you just watch his whole demeanor change. His shoulders kind of slump I've been breaking animals for years. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But he stops and he goes, looks over at my kid and goes, well, what about him? What he gonna have? And I was like, oh, I just waste money on him getting him stuff anyways. What's the point? And wait a minute, are you saying I have to feed my kid? Is that a law or something? And he's like, how about I just give you some, little tacos, will he eat those? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll pay for him and shit, dude, right? And he's just, everything changes and he just starts to warm up and talk. And that's what I'm saying. You can't let it bring you down. Keep at it. Keep it what you're doing, go, 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 go. And then I run into some that no matter what you say or how nice you're trying to be, they can't calm down. There's this lady and like I said, this is learning from life with Ashley. I'm going to share my experiences. You guys feel free to share yours. There's a lady at the damn Walmart. She said, I just do the loaf of bread. Literally look at them like they're a loaf of bread, devoid of any emotion. Works like a charm. I think it's great. Whatever you have to do that works for you. I'm just sharing my experiences, and I love how different we all are, right? There's a lady at Walmart that I have to get a money order from every month. I friggin' hate Walmart. I won't go there, but in the area I live, it's the only place to go get a money order. So once a month, I'm there to get my bills and money order. And I almost always see the same lady, and she is almost always pissed off, right? So she's just a fucking bitch, for lack of better words, all the time, right? But I've never let it break me down. Every fucking time I'm like, hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, I bet it sucks. Oh shit, it's a holiday. I bet you guys have been busy. And this lady the whole time is just like, And one day I bring Bike Tyson in, my bike, and she's like, you can't bring that in here. And I was like, well, actually I can. I looked it up and there was actually a great big protest about it and stuff. And if people can bring dogs in here, I really don't see the harm in my bike sitting here. It's too expensive. I don't want it to get stolen. She just and serves me, and you can tell she's just always pissed off, right? Finally, a year and a half after being here and going in there, she's like starts talking to me and being friendly. A lot of people would say, fuck that lady. She's a bitch, right? They'll put in so much effort. I didn't put any effort in. I just stayed myself. I stayed happy. I stayed who I am and how I like to be. And over time, I got through to this bitch. And besides, she works at fucking Walmart. I might be pissed off too. You know, I have to clean rich people's pubes. Sometimes it gets to me. Especially when there's a lot of them. You got to clean them out of the vacuum. And you're just kind of like, is this what my life has accumulated to? One time I sucked a vitamin E tablet into my vacuum and it collected all the pubes. And by the time I cleaned the vacuum out, there was this giant ball of vitamin E infused, very healthy, shiny looking pubes. What are you going to do? Clean the fucking pubes up and move on. You know? I could have my face in a bunch of pubes to get by. That hasn't happened yet. So, consider myself lucky. So, a little bit of humor for you guys. I got to share a little bit of humor because that's how I am. And life is what you fucking make it, right? I am not judging anybody. We are all on our own specific journey and path to become who we are and who we want to be. Dogs constantly coming in and out of Walmart would make the job that much worse and more insulting. Exactly. So, I don't judge. We're all going through things. Who knows, this woman's mom could have died. She could have been in some kind of crippling depression for a year. Maybe just me eventually getting through to her. She's got to be questionable at some point because she was so mean to me. And I often have to think, I'm not trying to sound conceited, but I'm not like a bad looking person, right? And a lot of times the more aggressive people toward me are women that aren't so attractive, get like salty or pissed. And that just makes me more want to be friendly. But you got to think at some point this woman after a year or so had to be like, what's up with this lady? Why is she still being nice? Calvin says, do you think that not being born at all is a privilege instead of being born and suffering every day? This is like the whole blind or not blind or having experienced sight and having it taken away or have never had it concept. Dude, oh, nice to see you, Kupak, and Bob, and I'll get to what every one of you are saying. Dude, coming from someone that's dealt with depression and anxiety throughout my life, and I am quick to say, I am not suicide-y. I'm a bit homicide-y. Hey, Chef Mutt Meat. Love to see you, man. So happy to see you. Big love. I'll share some sad insider stuff. I often wish I wasn't born into the life I was or at all. I made the comment last week as I dealt with all that stress and was just like, man, other people get attacked and killed by grizzly bears and shot in the fucking head. Why doesn't shit like that happen to me? I'm tired of it. I don't want to live like this anymore. I even made a sad sign on my son's very colorful sketch pad that I took for myself. You know, I didn't leave him to see, that said, life is suffering and suffering is life. Calvin, it's tough. Thing is, though, we're here. So you don't get a choice. So it's what you make with it after that, right? I've had a lot of friends suffering with their drinking lately. I had a friend call me last night. I had to make the choice that I didn't have time to sit on the phone with their drunk ass all night. It was late, and I had to get some sleep and get up for work. I made them promise me they were going to be okay. I said some stuff. I was pretty straightforward. And then I said, look, I'm not trying to be mean, you know? And they're like, no, dude, you're honest. That's why I got a hold of you. And I'm like, okay. Like, you need to clean up and fix this. Life is only what you're going to make it. Coming from where I did and all the trauma, sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. I was a stripper, raised a bunch of kids that weren't mine, gave up my own kids I couldn't raise to raise my sisters. So much stress and trauma. And then without any fallback or family and stuff, what kind of future did I have? Well, I've made one. It took me years. Life is still very difficult, and I often wonder. So, Calvin, I feel you. And if you want to talk about more stuff, Beanie, if you'll throw up the email, anybody who wants to talk about this kind of stuff, whether you just need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. Or if you want me to share your story anonymously or with your name, I can do that. So I'm here for you. I do understand what you mean. Bob says, how come I can't just scream, growl, and bare my teeth at people to make them love me? It works for dogs. You know, Bob, it doesn't just work for dogs. I've seen it work for women too. It's so weird because I used to do that kind of stuff. Not even gonna lie. It's part of the reason I've been arrested so many times. I became so aggressive when I was younger. It was frightening for people. I'll share a little story with you guys. Man, everybody wanted to love me. You know, I had like dudes lined up around the block and I was a complete nightmare. What the fuck were these people thinking? They should be running that way. Now that I'm like, oh, I'm sober and I'm a good communicator and I have my own stuff going on in my life and I'm proud and happy and all this stuff. And dudes are like, okay. So I'll share a story that relates to this. When I was younger, I had a bit of a confrontation with an ex at the bar. And after him throwing a beer in my face twice, I went into blackout mode. I remember some of it. And there were plenty of people there that knew me watching. And I whipped out a knife that also has a shiv coming through the middle. So there's knife on the bottom, shiv through the middle. And I'm doing some of these. I got him a few times. And he runs out the door. And I'm pursuing him. And 7 people jump on me to hold me down. They want to stop me from hurting him. And I'm in the doorway of this bar. And I've got the knife in my hand still. And they're all holding me and pulling my hands behind my back and sitting on top of me. And this is pissing me off. So I flip around and look back at everyone and I growl. I become very aggressive. I go, next motherfucker who doesn't get off of me is getting some too, right? And 2 or 3 people got up and stepped away like this. Like, oh, fuck that. Like, you know, and they all know me. I smile. This pleases me. I fling the knife up past me into the sidewalk. And because they're holding my hands, I bite the door frame of the bar and pull with all 3-4 people on top of me out the door by my fucking mouth. No, the rest of everybody stood up and backed away at that point. Oh, fuck. We want nothing to do with this. And I proceeded to continue to beat the shit out of this person. Pulled one of those big floppy industrial trash can lids. Whop! I mean, just take this motherfucker off his motorcycle. He's like 7 foot tall. I have tons of witnesses to this story. Okay? So I used to be like that. And people loved me, Bob. So try it. Maybe it'll work. Or go to Walmart and shit all over the store in the produce section, and people will call me a hero. Annabelle says, people complain to the Walmart by me, and now it is no dogs. Complain to corporate and the store manager. Awesome. I even watched a bar rescue the other day, Anna, where the dog like came in, and the people doing the bar rescue, the professionals were like, there's a dog in the restaurant. Disgusting. And they're freaking out. And I'm like, yeah. All right. So Kanon says to Calvin, it's not a privilege, just a total absence of pain and hardship. Basically, anti-natalist philosophy. Okay, and Chef is in the house. A choice, yes. But if you had a choice, I would choose to be here. Calvin, at the end of the day, I might not have said that when I was 15 or 22. I choose to be here. I'm bettering myself. I'm bettering those around me. You know, I love my kids. I love the life I've built. I love the nation's parks. I love my friends. I love what little family I have. I at this point wouldn't change. But I don't judge anybody for their feelings. And like I said, if you ever want to talk, get a hold of me. And I cut off a lot of alcoholic people in my life. It's easier for them to drag you down than to pull you up. I have had a dear friend for many years. Okay. Once again, I'll keep it anonymous. And he's been a nightmare. In fact, I told him, like, you can't drink here at my house, right? And he just kept, like, sneaking it. And it really got out of control. And I felt extremely disrespected. And I ended up basically asking him to leave which he was already planning on leaving because I was being a nag and a bitch and driving him crazy. And recently he just had a huge problem, ended up in the hospital, and is sober. I really hope it stays that way. I'm so excited about it. But then also, the probability that someone does not stay sober and falls back into the same habits is there. So just hope, right? I'm not a prayer, although I don't judge, but I am very spiritual. So this person will be in my thoughts and in all my best intentions. Beanie says, I think you turned out just great, Ashley. And I think the same about you. I think the same about all of us. And we're all on a personal journey to get where we're going, right? Kanon says, sucks that there's an exception for service dogs, though. Yes, it does. And I was just out of town. I saw so many dogs in so many places. One was on a table in an outdoor dining area. God, I can't fucking stand that. Their butthole all over. I can't. Asher says, the ultimate lesson of enlightenment is to know thyself. If I'm putting that right. If I hadn't been through crap, I would not know myself nearly as well as I do. And so when I say, and Annabelle agrees, when I say I wouldn't trade any of my trauma, upbringing, or anything in for anything in the world, that's what I'm referring to. It made me who I am today. And without it, who knows who I'd be? Imagine if I had like a good family and got married young and all this shit. I might be some rich, stuck up bitch that's had plastic surgery. Like, oh, I'm insecure about my boobs, so I'm going to get them like pulled up here, right? I'm insecure. Maybe I should do that. I am insecure about crow's feet, so I've gotten this fixed. I'm, getting wrinkles. I need like a surgery. It's this, it's that. It's who knows who I'd be. Maybe I would be a great person using my abilities to better people's lives. Who knows? It does happen. I like who I am, and so I wouldn't change it, And it's impossible to know the motives of others. Many people hardly know themselves. I said this last night to someone. Like I said, strangely, I didn't even mean for this to correlate. I was actually talking to a friend, but I was talking to someone else about this when I said, how can you explain yourself? And I don't think you know what you're doing. You're so confused and so on the fence. You don't know what you're doing. How are you supposed to explain to me? And I had them like try to call me out on knowing what I wanted. And I was like, that's rich coming from someone who doesn't know what they want. There's that aggressive communication style we were talking about. I still have a lot of that. And so I can get very catty and sarcastic. It's not pretty. So let's see, guys. Synchronicity. That's right. So I'm a better mom because my mom wasn't. I thankfully learned from her mistakes, and I'm thankful for that. And Quasar says, human nature to struggle. If there isn't a problem or a fight, we create one. Great point, because it's very true. Morpheus, good to see you. Yeah, no, I tried to like comment to you, and then I was like, shit, now I think about it, I have a lot going on this week. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of time in the evenings. So please, go back and watch the video. I mentioned you in the beginning. And Morpheus, we all love your writing. So if you get a chance and you want to write on this topic or others, or your ayahuasca thing, a couple people are interested in it, please, when you get the time, email it to me. I'd love to cover it. But for now, I think I'm going to slowly start to wrap this up. We covered the 4 types of communication: aggressive, passive-aggressive, and assertive. And there's nothing wrong if you found yourself in any of these categories. And, I'll go back to this article real quick because it wrapped up on how to become an assertive communicator, which, as they say, is, being an assertive communicator is supposed to be the best of all the worlds, if you will, right? Understanding how others communicate can be key to getting your message across to them. In order to develop a more assertive communication style, here are a few tips to keep in mind. Take ownership. Use I statements. Maintain eye contact. Looking at you. I'm looking at y'all. Learn to say no, or as I like to say, fuck no. That's the aggressive communicator. Voice your needs and desires confidently. Establish yourself as a key communicator. Now that you've learned about the 4 basic communication styles, take that knowledge and apply it to everyday life. Now, those of you who know me know I am very much an assertive communicator, okay? But I'm very much, hey, Lucy Luce, I was mentioning people from the Sober channel I was happy to have here. Good to see you. So yeah, guys, let's all work on ourselves to be our best selves. Whether it's like we said, avoid, hey, Isabel, at Soda Pop Jones, hey, if it's avoiding alcoholics because, as you know, I think it was Annabelle said, they can like drag you down. It depends how deep they are in their own issues in life, right? Your desire to be better. Is substance abuse, or this could be like narcissism or making people feel. Will you have 666 subs satanic special? And yes, I'm getting around to the do-it-yourself cleaning supplies. I need to like sit down and actually set it all up on a table. That will be next week. Fall break is coming, and I don't have many jobs because my son's home. I tell you, being a single mom is a motherfucker. Uh, it's hard. It's a good thing I have my own business and make my own schedule, because these breaks and stuff come. I really wanted to work at the senior center full time. We had a few full time positions that would have involved benefits and insurance and stuff like that, and I can't. Summer break, spring break, fall break, random early releases and shit. I mean, not to mention, as you guys know, I don't drive. I save money by not having a car. I stay fit by exercising and riding Bike Tyson everywhere. And it's like my part toward the planet. Besides, I don't pay insurance, I don't pay for gas, and I work on cars. So it's not like I have to pay anybody to fix them, but I don't have to buy parts and shit, right? So for now, living in a small town and being who I am, just using my bike to do everything is so much more ideal for my situation. Do I plan on, in the end, fixing it? Yes. Was it a DUI that caused you to lose your license, Ashley? Yes. I could totally pay to fix it, though, and get my license today. That's not the point. I have other priorities in line I need to take care of. And for those of you that want to know, and thank you, Lucy Luce, I have. In fact, I said to someone, should I be ashamed for like being the girl who rides my bike all over and people see me everywhere? Just like, holy shit, you go everywhere. No, I'm proud. I didn't fucking go file disability for the many issues I could come up with, pretend that I have or probably do have. Don't tell. I got my ass on my bike. I loaded my shit up, and I make shit happen by any friggin' means necessary that doesn't involve me putting my face into pubes, as I pointed out earlier. I'll sweep them, I'll vacuum them, but I'm not putting my face into them, sucking no dicks or nothing like that. I don't care if YouTube doesn't like it. I'm saying it. This is a real ass world. And I'm not judging. You're a chick that does like an OnlyFans and shit, and that's how you take care of yours, girl. Get it. I'm just way too stubborn and proud to do that. I have trouble sending a partial nude to someone I trust and love, and have only done it twice in my entire life. And it's not even like a nude. It's like a nude, like things are covered, but I'm all, you know? We all have a screw loose. I'm living proof of that. Exactly. So, whatever it is that you're accomplishing in life, don't let other people drag you down, but be there for them, right? Try not to put your face in any pubes on the way there. And if you do, hey, be honest, I think prostitution should be fucking legal. Controversial opinion I have. Does it mean that I'm doing it? No. You know, I'll wrap it up with this funny story. I have a friend who haggle first. Sort of jokes. I have a friend who does pornography and cam girl stuff for a living. She's actually a celebrity and pretty well known. I won't name her, personal space. And her boyfriend and I were talking about it. He's a good friend of mine. And I said, man, how does one get sucked into that? And he's like, well, it's actually kind of a funny story. He's like, she's on this like game chat, right? Where people like play all these fantasy games and shit. So here's something we could talk about, Morpheus. I think that's a good video topic that people would really like. Anyways, he says she's on this video chat forum thing, get it game thing. He's like, and all these dudes got together and had seen her profile picture, and they go like, hey, we were kind of wondering like how much it would cost to, and I'm like, get her to suck the staff of Gandalf? And he's like, yeah, basically, and I was like, huh, interesting. He's like, yeah, and she made like $700 to like do one little thing, you know. And hey, Slime, and we're talking about prostitution. And I said, huh, damn. And I was like, well, that's awesome. And she made a whole career out of it. She's got a great fucking life and has like really nice clothes and owns this really badass house in another country and all the shit. I like the stuff you see that I'm like, wow, how neat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so happy for her. I said, but herpes is forever. I said, well, I must just be too proud or stubborn, because if several dudes approached me on some kind of video chat and said, hey girl, you know, we'll pay you $700 to suck the staff of Gandalf, I'd be like, me and 5 of my homies are showing up at your house to make you suck the staff of Gandalf. Talk to me like that, motherfucker. Get the hell out of here. And, you know, so there's different kinds of people in this world. I have done other stuff. I've made like, I don't know what to call them fetish videos, but I do like private videos for people that want me to talk about a certain circumstance. I don't get naked. I'm not jerking anything off. No face in pubes. No sexual stuff. Like I said, no nudity. No, none of that. But I've had people, you know, want to hear about one specific essential oil or one little thing, or sometimes they probably could be considered like low key, probably some kind of like quirk or fetish or whatever. But as long as I feel okay with what I'm doing, you know, oh, no feet pics. That weirds me out, and it like shouldn't, right? Because those chicks are making all this money for just showing their feet. I'm so weirded out by it that I intentionally keep my feet out of the videos when I'm talking to y'all. Like, I'm conscious of it. Like, when I stand up to go walk away from the video and shit, I'm like keeping my feet low to the floor. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it fucking does. Like, I don't know why. So yeah, you know, I'm Morpheus, everybody. I think this would be I think this would be a really good topic to cover in a video all by itself. Kinks, quirks, fetishes, prostitution. Why? There's multiple reasons. Some people are like high dollar escorts and like make mad money and then fund themselves to go through college and quit. And some people do it to fuel a drug addiction. And some people, a lot of people, you notice, do it because they were molested and shit when they were young. And that sucks. Slime says, I've been happy because my mom has been better with me. Slime, I'm so happy for you. He had just shared about, hey, and this goes into communicating. Slime got assertive with his mother, told her how it made him feel to have the dog kind of held over him in a regards like his mother was like treating the dog better than him. And he was sensing that and picking up on it. And for a young man, you know, an impressionable young man that Slime is, that's super detrimental. And this is one of the things that I do have a huge issue with certain dog owners. I've dealt with that with my parents. I don't have as much a problem with a person that's responsible with their own pet and does their own thing, and I don't have to hear it barking 24/7, worry about it attacking my child. But when it's something that's being held over your child's head, whether it's subconscious or not, it's something that needs to be dealt with. Okay? So, yeah, Morpheus, Nevada is filled with legal brothels, male and female. I actually said that to someone one day. So you have a different view about the prostitute thing and how it affects society. Hey, everybody has a different view. And like, I just need money, Soda Pop Jones said. I feel that allowing prostitution to be legal spares people on a lot of other shit like rapes and abductions and shit like that. If they are legally allowed to, without being arrested, go down the road and pay a willing woman whom also would have papers and know that she is clean, right, to have intercourse rather than having to feel like they force it, or motherfuckers be keeping too much time on the internet and getting into some weird shit. But that's just me. There is an effect it can have on society, and I agree with Beanie Girl. I do think, though, if it was done right, this is like saying, like, medical legal cannabis is having an effect on society. Well, yeah, when you create a gray and black market, it can. But if you take away all of that and you allow this market to surface and thrive and to be run openly, clean, right? Where these people are safe, not just the women that are selling these services, but the Johns as well. And give these women their independent property back. I'll close things down with a joke. Okay. Oh no, that's not appropriate at all, Beanie. What's up, Lisa? I'll close things down with a joke, okay? If I opened a brothel, I'd have to run it by hand until I hired some help. Quasar, we love you. What do you call? Does everybody know what a lot lizard is? A lot lizard is a truck stop prostitute. Okay. What do you call a lot lizard with a mattress strapped to her back? An owner operator. I know way too many truck driver jokes. Okay. If it was legal, it would be required to apply for it or denied unemployment benefits. I feel like force. Oh, of course it would, Anna. You get the fucking government involved. It's the same thing with like cannabis, right? They're taxing the shit out of it. They get to make all the fucking rules and whether you're allowed to have a gun or not or what's acceptable in this and blah, blah, blah. You know? She said, oh, your aunt is a lot lizard. And I wasn't being offensive. You know I love you. We all have complicated lives. But I do have to shut the fuck up and go to work. So, much love to all of you. Fuck Fluffy. Hello, Lisa. Thank you to the moderators, to everybody who showed. Oh, Lordy B, Beanie. That's terrible. We have to cover this in another video. So, Morpheus, if you would like to write to me about your perspective or any of the rest of you, Beanie, if you'll throw up the email again, please email me with your stories. I would love to do a video talking about prostitution, the pros and cons, and obviously it sucks when government gets involved. They fucking ruin everything and overtax it and overregulate it, and they have to have their cut because they are the world's largest gang. I said it. So, until next time, I really appreciate all of you that show up from all different walks of life. Please share your opinions with me via email. Your stories. This could be about communication, which is how this started, about a video coming up on prostitution. This week, we will do the video on do-it-yourself cleaners. Okay. Lucy, Jonathan, good to see you. Lucy, I'm so happy to have you here. I can't explain how happy I am when I see you. And so I want everybody to have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Protect yourself. Okay. Watch the video if you'd like. Slime, you stick to college. We all love you. And until next time, I wish you all the best.